Hey guys, it's Khadijah with thisisarmy.com, and we're so excited that you are joining us today because we are here with the multi-talented entertainer, singer, actor, writer, producer, soulful croonie, Bradd Marquis. What's going on?
How are you doing? It's good to be here. Good to be
Great
here.
to be here with you. So let's just jump right into it. You have your acclaimed album, Find My Way Home. Sorry, just Find My Way, then Authentic, which is like an introspect view of a man struggling to find himself artistically and personally. Then you have your third Billboard chart album, Thank You. And then let's just talk about your latest album, Love. All
Mm.
these albums thus far seems to have a theme. Is it like a personal connection that you have with these albums that you've experienced personally?
They're all personal, quite honestly. Yeah, the love, it was an EP actually. I think it was, I don't even know how many songs, 6, 7, 8 songs or something I put on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the latest one, and they're all personal. They're all marked stages of my life. It's funny. I was talking to the producer of Finding My Way a couple days ago, and I was like, man, I could have called all my albums Finding My Way. I could have just put a volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, because
Yeah.
I mean, because that's essentially what we do in life. Where we never stop, searching for our here and now, or even if we know who we are, we're constantly evolving and we're constantly discovering new things about ourselves, and a lot of it is based on experiences, and you never know who you are until you're dropped in a situation where you have to be that person or be something, different or new.
Yeah. And off of that album, Acclaimed, what accommodate, what was the thought process behind that track?
Oh my goodness. Well, that whole album, I was actually engaged to be married during that album, and we were actually going the opposite direction. We're actually breaking up.
Oh
And
wow.
so it was just a lot of emotions. It was love there, it was confusion there, it was frustration, anger there. So all of that got channeled, throughout that record. All of our happy times, would accommodate, and rendezvous, things of that nature. And then our unhappy times with, why'd you have to go, roller coaster, and a lot of introspection during that whole process.
Yeah. So, do you find it difficult at all to be authentic with your fans when, sometimes, like how you said right then and there for that album, you were going through you being engaged and then, going in different directions, but like maybe your fans are expecting like just more love songs or things of that nature. Do you find it hard to be in a loving mood when you're not necessarily in that mood when you're writing music?
Absolutely, absolutely. I haven't had that disconnect with my fans because they ha- have been trained, I guess, for lack of a better term, to receive all levels of love, good, bad, indifferent, what have you. But I have, after this transition and this time frame, it did become difficult to write the type of songs that I felt like my fan base wanted from me, just
Mhm.
because I was just so disconnected and just so kind of broken, and just kind of searching in a sense. So I just didn't know what to write about. I think it was a gap between Authentic and the what is it, Thank You EP. It was like a 7 year
Yeah.
where I really couldn't put pen to pad. I couldn't write anything.
Mm.
Whereas the first two couple of projects, I think I did, 150 plus odd songs
Wow.
in less than a 2 year span, just because it was flowing and it was coming. It was, it was exciting. It was new. But, after that breakup, after the Authentic project, man, I couldn't write anything, you know.
Yeah. So when you get not necessarily writer's block or like how you said you couldn't put pen to pad, what
Mhm.
do you do? Do you just say like I'm going to take a break and just step away from it all and just try to find the magic essentially again?
I learned through that process, I learned to just live, you know,
Mhm.
because I wasn't not still having experiences. I was still having experiences. I just wasn't able to articulate them in song. But when, I found that sweet spot again, when I found that space again, before this Thank You album propped up, I wrote about 10 of those songs on the Thank You project in 5 days.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
and it was just a lot of those experiences that I had, over the, 5 or 6 years. And once I hit that spot and once I found the right producer and that music spoke to what I was feeling inside, again, I did about 10 full songs in 5 days. I couldn't stop writing.
Hmm.
So it's just, I just learned to just live and just, just have experiences and focus on other things until that mojo comes back, or we find ourselves in that space where, okay, I'm ready to talk about this again. I'm ready to talk about what I've gone through the last whatever amount of years or days or however the case may be.
Yeah, yeah. So let's talk about your latest EP, Love.
Mhm.
And it's the first release since like 2017, I want to believe. And you've seen some hits from this album. Who Let You Go? Oh my gosh, that song right there for me. I mean, there's a lot of songs in the album, but that one in particular, um, it's like I feel like whoever you are with next, like
Mhm.
you want them to say these words, sing this song to you, because it's
You're right.
like what is it that they didn't see or that they were so willing to let go, and now that I've found it, I'm never gonna let it go, essentially. Can
Yeah.
you talk about the mental state that you were in when you were writing that song, that track?
Well, I mean, like I said, most of the songs that I write, if not, I would say at least 95+% of them are about real life situations. So,
Mhm.
it was actually my wife now, who I had met at the time,
Nice.
and that's kind of what kind of jumped out at us, to me, like, okay, what am I missing here? What's going on here? Like, what, all of this good stuff, all this packaged up real nice. Like, what did he do wrong? What happened that, you still out here in these streets? Like, that shouldn't, something like this. And
Right.
for all the fellas out there, if you find it, lock it up. Like, but
I love it. I love it. Preach to him. Preach to him.
But I mean, that's what it is. I mean, we look around and think it's grass is greener on the other side, things of that nature, man. And it's not always, man. And I understand things happen and people grow apart, or whatever the case may be. But that was just one of the moments, like, right beat at the right time.
Yes, 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 that's beautiful. And speaking of your wife, is that her on the cover of Always?
It is.
Oh, great. I love that song too. I'm like, they're definitely in love. This has to be his wife. She's absolutely beautiful. And you want to share anything about that single, or
Well,
tell
I
us
mean,
a little bit
everything
more
is,
about it?
it's always it's funny thing about the Love EP. Half of those songs were written during that finding my way authentic time.
Mm-hmm.
So I just never found a place for them on previous projects, either sonically or message wise, they didn't connect. And always, eventually all of that, those two songs, and the One You Love.
Yes.
So those were songs that were written, at a previous, during that finding my way authentic time. So it was just, when this project came out and those other songs were written, it just fit. It fit the theme of the album. It fit, sonically what we were doing at the time. And my wife, she swear that song is about her. Even, it was always, even though it was
You
written
better
before
say
her. Yeah,
it's
even
not
though it
her.
was written before her, she's like, yo, it was written about me. You wrote this
Yes.
for me, about me, before you met me. I'm like, yo, you can have it. It wasn't, you can have it. It wasn't assigned to anybody. I didn't have anybody else in mind when I wrote the song.
Yeah.
It was just like a hope. This is what I want from love.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is what I'm going to give to love.
Yeah.
When I
Yeah.
when I finally do stumble across it, when I finally, and so it wasn't. It's not like it was written for another woman or another situation.
Right. It was just there.
You can have it.
Yes, yes, good. That's great. And so, speaking of that, when, do you ever find it challenging when you're writing love songs, like how to not say the same thing? Like how does that process work? Because it's like, oh great, not another love song. You broke my heart. I either want vengeance, or like I'm just so broken hearted I can't move on, or I just love you so much, and like how you said, the grass is greener on the other side. Like, how
Right.
are you able to can constantly keep the creativity flowing when you're talking about essentially the same subject matter?
Well, a couple things with that. One is, the older I get, the more experienced I am, the more, um, the deeper my understanding of love and the responsibilities of being in love. It's not, when you're younger, it's just surface. You got a couple of needs you want to get met, and that's kind of where it is.
Right.
But as you get older, you understand the nuances of love, the nuances of relationships, the nuances of people, and you have experiences. And if you're, a good writer or a good writing team, you can dive deeper into the different pockets and elements. So now something that's, very surface now becomes very, just, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but in depth. So you just dive to the different components. I mean, there's a lot of different reasons why people stay together or don't stay together, or why they're in love or not in love. There's just a lot of different reasons, a lot of things that happen. And the second part of that is when I'm writing music, and if I start writing the same thing over and over again, but I said it better the first time, then I know my process is pretty much done with that topic or that album. I don't like to keep, that's where it gets to a space where I'm like, okay, I said this already. I said it better. I said it better the first time.
Yeah.
So I think I'm pretty much done with this aspect of what I'm doing. And, that's why I look at it as closing the chapter on that song, those genre of songs, or just the album in general. Like, we're done, because right now I'm just writing the same thing over again. And I said it better before, but I don't think it's hard to write the more you know about yourself, your own motivations, your partner and their motivations, and just life in general, you can find other things to talk about besides, I'm mad, we're breaking up, or we're having sex, I love you, blah, blah, blah. I mean, there's so many things in between. And when you go back to those records of the, let's just say those Motown records, come on.
Yeah.
Man. Those Motown records had come on, man. If you
oh
don't
my gosh.
Now,
come on. You will never, ever, ever know me. Come on now. Taking it back to the old school.
Man, it's just, but they talked about so much about love. During the 90s, they talked about so many different dynamics of love. And I think it's just, younger people can't discuss it because they don't understand it.
Yeah.
So even you got great writers, who are older or more experienced, and they write those types of songs for you, but for the most part, you have to have experience to write those types of songs.
Yes, definitely. And what a perfect segue into our next topic right here. You've been charged with uplifting and championing and being a positive change in projects like the Soulful Forefather that precedes you. And you kicked off in 2023 the leg of the Music of Sam Cooke, A Change is Going to Come tour. And you've been getting such rave reviews. Congratulations to you. And, Sam Cooke is known as the creator of soul music and the king of soul. So Sam Cooke, we love you. How was it? How did you mentally and physically prepare for this concert? And what's the mindset that you take on when you do such a project?
Oh my goodness. This project, it's been a love project for many, many moons. Started it back in 2008, 2009, started this project, and it's evolved and it's grown. It's had different legs, whereas it was me, kind of juxtaposing my life with Sam's life. Then it came about, just being me singing his songs. And then I started telling his story, segments throughout this show. And it's taken on a life of its own, and it's grown from, a 5-piece band, for, bass, keys, drums, guitar, myself, to now we're on the road with 10, so
amazing.
And we're all over. We're in places that, that are just crazy to me because, and I say that because in the show, we do Sam's whole life, he only lived 33 years, but he was an eventful 33 years.
Isn't that sorry, just to not to cut you off, but isn't that crazy to think about? Like, exactly, only 33 years, but such an impact on the music industry in our lives.
Yeah.
It's unfathomable. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
I think I learn more every time I do it because I'm still learning about his life and his impact, and I'm learning, how it's impacting us today, how it, through, because like I said, he was the first artist to own his own publishing, own his own record label. He championed the Afro. He championed just pro-blackness. He was a social activist. He helped he was the legends.
Right.
Me, he helped, Lou Rawls, Aretha Franklin, Johnny Taylor, like the people, Otis Redding, the people that we loved, Motown, and everybody who came through there. They looked up to him. They took their cues from him on how to evolve and how to handle their music and their business and things of that nature. And he went from gospel to pop and merged the two, as far as, and to form soul music. Him and you can go him and Ray Charles and Little Richard, Ray and James Brown, kind of all in that same era, creating this style of music that we know, come to love, and has changed our lives in so many different ways. But he doesn't, because he died so early, he doesn't get the recognition that the rest of them got.
I can see that. Mm-hmm.
And he was, folks don't tell his story as much, maybe because of who owns his estate doesn't own the material. It was his business partner at the time when he died that was sold his estate and his material, and they do what with it as they please.
Right.
But my job and our job, as historians, as musicians, is to not let his legacy die, and to continue to champion him and his influence. Like, he should be celebrated as much as Aretha Franklin or Marvin Gaye, or any of our heroes, Ray Charles. He should be in that same elk, celebrated in that same way. So I take this opportunity to tell his story, and from beginning to end. And at the end, he was a social activist. At the end, he was creating songs about social change, which brings a different mood to my show. You can sing and dance, but you're gonna get this word.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
It's all fun and love in the beginning, but at the end of the day, you're gonna get this word.
You want to get this word. You're gonna get that message.
And he started in gospel, so why wouldn't that be a part of the whole process? He's starting that transition, that transition from gospel to pop back into soul music is the merger of pop and gospel.
Right.
So you're gonna get all that word, and you're gonna get the inspiration, the upliftment. You're gonna get the story, of how he empowered others, including himself. But again, we bring you back around to the gospel, bring you back around to the social change, and what had he continued to live, I'm sure he would have been in that Muhammad Ali, Jim Brown. In that same box.
Absolutely.
As far as impact on our social justice.
Yes. So do you consider this as an opportunity of a lifetime, and why? If so, and why?
I do. I do. I said all the time, I was chosen for this. I didn't necessarily choose it. It chose me. I didn't seek after Sam Cooke. Sam Cooke just kept getting hit me in the head. It was like, oh, you look like Sam. Oh, you should record some Sam. My grandparents always listening to the music.
Yeah.
The other, and it just the right place at the right time, and I decided to do a show about him because I was coming off a acting residency, and I didn't want to sit around and wait for the next opportunity, so I decided to create one. And Sam was at the forefront of that. And all these years later, it just keeps growing. And I'm hoping to one day, present it on Broadway like they do Mike Jack,
Yes, definitely. I love it. You put it out there, create what you want to be a part of. Beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. And, you sing all of Cooke's greatest hits, including You Send Me, Bring It On Home, Cupid, Chain Gang, Twist the Night Away. Is there one particular song that you just love performing more than others?
There is.
Which one? Tell us. We want to know.
Well, if I go a million miles away, I'd write a letter each and every day. 'Cause honey, ain't nothing can ever change this love I have for you. That's the song. Nothing can change this love. So.
you in public? Oh, I hope he sings. I hope he sings. And you did. Sam could feel it. He was like, she wants him to sing and I'm going to have him sing. No, there you go. I love it. I love it. I love it. In January this year, you released a single, Blowing in the Wind, originally written by the one and only Bob Dylan and performed by the iconic Sam Cooke. So, why do you think it's important to, have that as a single for yourself and put it out there?
Um, it was just one of my favorite songs to sing in the show. But it speaks to, the conditions of that time, and unfortunately it's still speaking to the conditions of this time.
Yeah.
All 50, 60 years later, and it's still relevant. And so it was one of the, it is literally pulled directly from one of our shows. It's a live performance, and we ended up doing a whole live album. Mixing and mastering the whole show. So we actually have the whole show. So this was the first release from that project, and not quite sure if we're going to put the whole thing out yet. We'll see how the licenses thing work out. But you can get an impression of what the rest of the show is like through that
you
song.
do.
And so hopefully, like I said, hopefully it's a good interpretation and makes people want to come check out the show.
Nice. So what's next for you? Any other upcoming projects, whether it's with acting and TV, or we're just going to keep pushing this through?
We're going to keep pushing the Sam thing. Hopefully go back out on tour later this year in the fall. Definitely going back in the studio, because I'm hitting the bug. It's coming back.
Yeah.
Start writing again. I have my team around me. A lot of the people that I've worked with on the Sam Cooke thing, we're going to go back in the studio and work on a whole Bradd Marquis album. And just what I do for myself, through this Sam Cooke, and what I've learned through doing Sam Cooke and putting so much time and energy into it. It's just I want to take that and put it into the Bradd Marquis stuff now. So we're on a comparable level as what we have done with the Sam Cooke thing, if not exceeded. So that's the goal. Hopefully this time next year we'll be talking about my new project.
Yes, I'm putting it out there. I know it's going to be amazing, everything that you do. Thus far, you're just starting at the beginning, and you have so much to give us. And I thank you for your time. Tell everybody how they can stay connected with you.
Well, everything is Bradd Marquis, BraddMarquis. That is my name. Mama named me that. That's the .coms, Facebook, Twitters, Instagrams, all of that. Anywhere you find music, please check it out. Let me know what you think, man. I talk back. I'm a communicative person.
Yes, and we love it. We love it. Thank you so much, Bradd, for your time. It's been awesome, guys. Check out his latest EP, Love, and of course his single, Blowing in the Wind. Bradd, it's been amazing. Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys. Yes, we'll see you guys next time on thisisrnb.com. Take care.
All right.
In a little tent, and just like the river I've been running ever since. Said it's been a long time coming, and I know